Hi guys, so welcome to today's tutorial. So we are going to learn how to draft basic skirts. Basic skirts. And what are the measurements you need for your basic skirt? You need your waist circumference, your hip circumference, your waist hip length, and your skirt length. And the materials you need to draft your basic skirt. You will need your pencil, your tape, measure, your measuring tape, sorry, your ruler, your hip curve, your French curve, your pencil and your eraser. So let's get started. The first thing first is to draw out your top line and your center front or center back line, because that's what you are going to use as a guideline. So let's get started. So I'm drawing out my top line now. I'm using 1 inch for my top line. Then draw it out. Label its top line. Then now I'll go in with my center front line or center back line. So the next thing to do now is to calculate our hip measurement and go in with it. So now for this pattern, I'm using hip 42 and waist 34. Hip 42, waist 34. And also the skirt length. I'm using skirt length 24. Skirt length is 24. So right now I'm going to divide the circumference into 2. That will give me 42 divided by 4. That will give me what? That will give me 10 and a half. Waist 34 divided by 4. That will give me what? 34 divided by 4 is 34 divided by 4 will give me 8 and a half. So now I'm going to form a box. After getting your top line and your center front line, I'm going to form a box with quarter of my hip, and the quarter of my hip is 10 and a half. So I'll measure it downward. I'll measure my 10 and a half. Then I will draw the line out. So the next thing for me to do now is to determine my skirt length. So I'm using skirt length 24. My skirt length is 24. So after determining my skirt length, then I will determine my waist to hip line. Usually my waist to hip line is 7 inches, but for my skirt I normally add 1 inch to it, so my waist to hip line will be 8 inches, depending on how your waist to hip line is. So you can use what is okay for you. So 8 inches. I will measure my 8 inches from the top line. Then I will rule it out also. Draw the line out. So the next thing for me to do is to mark out my waist measurement. I'll mark out my waist measurement. So I'm going to divide my waist into 4. My waist is 34 and I'm using I'm going to divide it into 4. That will give me 8.5 plus 1 inch for that allowance. So that will be 9.5. So from the center line, I'm going to measure 9.5. So this is my 9.5. Then to the next thing now, I want to determine my dart width now. To determine the dart width, I'm going to divide my waist measurements into 2 to get the middle part. So 9.5 divided by 2, that will give me 4. 9.5 divided by 2, that will give me 4 3/4. Then from my 4 3/4, I will share my 1 inch dart equally, that is half on each side. Then for my dart leg at the front is usually 4 inches, but at the back is 5 inches, 6 inches. So I'll mark my dart leg, which is 4 inches. Then I will shape it out and form a triangle with the dart. So the next thing for me to do is to shape the hip, is to connect my hip. Sorry, the next thing for me to do is to connect my waist to the hip by using my hip curve. Then I'll go to the hem. If I want it fitted at the hem, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. So let's say I'm doing fitted skirt, I'm coming in by 1 inch for short skirt. But if it's for long skirt and you want it to be pencil, you have to come in at the hem by 2 inches. Sorry. So for my short skirt, so I'll go to the hem now. For my short skirt, I want it to be a little bit pencil. So at the hem, I'm going to move in from the hip at the side seam. I'm moving in by 1 inch, and also you can decide you are using 1.5. But if you are doing a long skirt, if you are practicing a long skirt and you want your skirt to be fitted to pencil at the hem, you have to use 2 inches for long skirts. But for short, 1 and 1.5 is maximum that you can use. So I'm using 1 inch. Then I'll connect my hip line, I'll connect it to the hem line to give it a shape. Skirt block. So this is just the block. Then if you want, you can, with this block, you can do any varieties of different kind of skirts. With this block, you can design different kind of skirts, different pattern, different design with this block. So this is the back, and the first one we did is the front. So let's assume you are making a straight skirt. Don't forget to add your seam allowance to it. So at the side, you can decide you are using 1.5 or 1 inch. The center back, which is for the zipper allowance, you can decide to use 1 inch also, or 1.5. If you are doing inseam finishing, you can decide to use 1.5 to take everything inside. So this is our back skirt look. In case you don't understand anything, feel free to ask me questions.